Call the August 16th Sanitary District Board meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize now, I'm losing my voice, so. Roll call.
Kim Kroll.
Here.
Patricia Sims-Samerchek.
Here.
Ken Gambala.
Here.
Richard Setlek.
Here.
Robert Kometz.
Here.
Wayne Pondinas.
Present.
Joe Wisawati.
Here.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 4, approval of the July 19th, 2022 minutes. Anybody have any questions? Comments? Then I will entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
We have Patty and Rich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 5, new business. Do we have any new business?
The SCADA system, if any of you guys want to see the SCADA system, I think next week they'll let, I guess, probably up to 2 of you guys go. And if you've got to have another meeting for the other 2, or what they go, you can go look at it. It's all on a wall, all the panels, and they'll give you how that would work, a rundown how it would work. That might take an hour, hour and a half. Anybody interested, let me know. I'll get a hold of Austin and see what he can set up for next week.
So that's still in testing mode. It hasn't been installed, or?
Yeah, it hasn't been installed. They haven't started. They're tweaking it, whatever they got to do. But that's a lot easier to do than it was the water system.
Good. I might reach out to you later.
So yeah, if you guys are interested, fine. I talked to him. I asked him. He said sometime next week would probably work out.
Okay.
I know Richard would be interested.
Although my schedule's pretty open, so
Okay.
I
All right,
don't have
sounds
to do
good.
that work.
And then if the 2 ladies would like to go another time, that's fine. So that would work.
All right. No other new business. Old business. There is no old business. We'll move on to reports and correspondence.
Oh, excuse me, Rob. We did look at 2 more vac trucks. So they looked at one today. So I don't know which one they're looking at, what they're interested in. So I'll let you know, but I forgot to tell you that.
Similar features?
Similar features. The first one had the 2 axles on the back. The last 2 were just 1 axle in the back. A little smaller capacity for what they hold, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll keep you updated on that. I'll find out maybe tomorrow a little bit more on what they're interested in.
Okay.
At least they're looking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're gonna get 3 prices, I guess, and they're all similar in pricing. But then there's more bells and whistles on the first one than there was the second one. So, and it's what you want to put into it. This last one today, they have chassis, and I think the second one they might have chassis. So you won't get hit with, okay, 10 grand here and 5 grand there. If they got a chassis, that would be assigned to us. We get the VIN number, and then they build it.
Okay.
And the build out time is maybe 3 months, 120 days, 4 months, compared to a year and a half.
Yeah, and that other one. Yeah.
Right, on that first one. So that's up to them, and I can have them reach out to you or get back with the information they like and what they want, and then that'll be good.
And Bob Davis is.
I think so. Yeah, I think he was happy with all 3 trucks, but now if they really want to go forward, then I think both boards said, okay, you're all in favor of it. See what he says, and go from there.
Okay.
This stuff is. I have a thing because the one that's already there.
The one that we have right now, right?
Didn't Bob say something? It's had 100 hours of use.
I don't recall him saying 100 hours. We've used it more than that. I know that.
Because I thought it didn't seem like a whole lot.
Gets about 100 hours of use, but I think the machine.
I don't know how long.
I think we've had it out longer. We've had it out 8 hours quite a few times, and now they're digging bee boxes with it. The new one that they showed today, that I watched, it was like a laser cutting into the ground and just the ground just disappearing. They hit tree roots because they were by a bunch of oak trees by Public Works, but it works a whole lot better. The hoses on it and everything else, it's the old truck is 22 years old. So now the modern technology, what's kicked in, has improved tremendously.
Well, I admit that probably improves efficiency, but you're still digging a hole or cleaning a tube or whatever it is. And I'm looking at it, how you see a definition of need. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. This came up and there was this opportunity last time. And now it's like, well, we're looking at others, like there's been some need established. And prior to this last demo showing up, there wasn't any word about, this needs replacement or anything like that. And it's a matter, I don't want to have a thing that you're buying it just to buy it.
Well, I think as the town has grown, Rich, we're going to need that more so.
Well, I'm just saying, though, that comes in planning and looking ahead.
Right.
I'm tired of looking at being reactive instead of proactive.
Right.
Everybody runs around with their rear end on fire. Got to do this, got to do this, got to do this.
Well, when
We're
this
talking about sewage here.
right.
And there's nothing new about it.
Right, it didn't happen overnight.
So when this started with the first truck, I happened to come through, like, wow, are we looking at one? Yeah, we're kind of looking at it, and I know ours is old. I know it's
Well, there's a matter, though, of a plan. Are you looking at, this is on a want list. This one's expiring, it's rotting as it sits there. Before the meeting, Joe was talking about the sidewalks and this and that. All this stuff eventually needs to be dealt with. And there's different cycles. I remember last time this is about the road, but somebody said, gonna last for 50 years. Well, that's a pile of hooey.
right.
And even a road doesn't last for 50 years. And so you're not going to do these things once, but looking ahead, these things should be coming and going, and have some idea ahead of time where your resources are going to go. And so, I mean, it's a planning thing and being proactive and looking ahead instead of,
Now we need to have this, yeah.
Right.
right now, today,
Yeah.
decide.
But
And I
then-
agree with the
and-
planning, to see what's out there, we need to, work with Bob Davis to see what the true need is.
Right, and see if he's got the personnel to manage it,
Yeah.
to get the
Well, yeah.
lift stations clean,
Because I asked
whatever
him
he
last
needs to
time,
get done.
about
Right,
people. Say you can't hire people.
Right,
You have all the equipment in the world, but if nobody can run it, you don't have anybody.
right.
It's sitting there. And you get all the ducks in order, not just one or two. And
Bob's gonna be the one that's gonna be able to say, we could save X amount on labor, because it's less labor intensive, and get it on the radar for a purchase, rather than a knee-jerk reaction and just going and buying something. But I think we sit down with Bobby and see what his true assessment of the existing machine is. If he says it's 2 years, then it's time to start looking and planning for that. If he says it's 8 years,
And I don't think you can get 8 years out of the truck, but
Yeah.
you,
I mean,
you
some of
never
this
know.
now
if
is
it's
seeing
1
what,
to 2 years, we really need to start talking about it. And
some of this stuff is, maybe people don't like it, but you have to see what's available. You say the technology, well, that'll continue. But some of it looking, you may see things, you didn't know you could do that with one of these trucks. You didn't even know there was a possibility to A or nay it. And I look at it, some of that is where he's at. If you're looking at it, well, what's available? I didn't know these trucks could do that. I didn't know it could do it this fast. I didn't know you could do this. But some of that is looking like, what do you really, the needs going forward? How you laying out things, the structures, where you're going to use it 10 years from now? What are you going to do with it?
You can
And
do
saying,
you
tailor what you're buying now for what you're going to be doing later.
right. How many hours a week do you think you're gonna use it?
Right.
And what projects you're gonna use it on, that kind of stuff. That needs to be planned out.
You
It's
can
like if
use
you
it
have
for
a three-story house, you don't buy a 6-foot step ladder to clean gutters.
Right.
That's all. And it seems quite obvious, but it applies to even big stuff. That, you deal with something, all kinds of stuff to deal with high-rise fires. We don't have any high-rises. So is that a big priority? Nor are there any planned that I know of. But it's the same thing with this truck and the need about, is one there and some of it, and to share that information periodically with us about what you're thinking of. Instead of coming through, oh, we need this now. We got to do this. My history, like on the SCADA, is somebody went ahead and they bought the last system and nobody knew what the heck it was. It never worked. I said, what is that? Did you ever buy a car and you get it home and it doesn't work? And it's like, you get more than just a little PO'd with that. But it's like, don't you think, well, what did you want? And what do you want out of the system? And I'd like the town to think about some of that. Instead of afterwards, after putting out the money, and then say, well, yeah, we got that, but it didn't fit down this street because this is too wide.
Well, yeah, and to your point, I think there needs to be a discussion of what is our existing use of a vac truck, and then what's our intended use for it? What's that going to look like?
True.
This year and years down the road. I mean, there's a lot of good uses for
It's
it.
a moving target.
Yeah.
I
So
admit the town is growing.
When they were looking for the water mains out here and different valves, they used our old truck, or the old truck, to find that. That saved on somebody else doing it, and that can be a high price. But they use it to dig up B-boxes, clean out the sewers, look at, they wash out the wet wells for the
All that stuff says, though, that there is information that can be documented that says, this is if we hire somebody, what it's going to cost per unit. And we can do it in-house for this per unit. We can do it cheaper, respond quicker, whatever. It's a sales job. It's the same thing with the truck coming. Say, well, hey, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. It's the same thing. You want to get something, well, sell us. Where's the payoff?
And I think
get
that's
it down
why
to numbers.
It's
And
important to involve Bob Davis as well,
Yeah.
because there are potential uses for this, that it can
Correct.
do additional stuff and do the analysis of what additional work can we do to save the town money,
Right.
labor cost savings.
Or
And once we
contracted services out.
Look at all of those things, does it make sense? If it's got a 4-year life, but we can, in 2 years, we can use it for much more, replace it sooner.
So maybe we have met the next meeting for just kind of a work study discussion with him about
It
that.
would probably be a good
Plus, if we
idea.
can use it for other stuff, it's in another department, let's say parks, and they could contribute to the cost.
Well, to your point, you've got obviously water,
Yeah.
water utility, sanitary utility as well, wastewater. But you also got stormwater too. So, I mean, there's something, we can.
Share the load.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because honestly, you're gonna use it at some point for something. So yeah,
And it's those considerations
street department for potholing for.
Right.
in looking ahead.
water main problems, they use it for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you can locate your utilities. That's a big one. Yeah.
Because the other option is like, well, if it's used for something like that in some other department, well, then they pay us for it, for the use.
Or share the cost. Right. Share the pain.
So
right.
you want a chunk of it in buying it, and, okay, or, you'll pay a monthly fee, or not monthly, hourly fee or whatever
Yeah.
to use it.
And you know what? There'll be other towns that are going to want to use it too. So those fees would have to be established too.
But it's like when I was looking at the truck that was here last time, I was doing some research about, if you wanted to rent one, I don't know, it came up, $1,024 a day or something like that. So, somebody's figured out this stuff. You can get a number about what this stuff runs and costs and make an analysis. And it does a whole lot in sending things forward. And it gets away from the subjective thing, like, I really liked it. That's a given. I'm not into liking one truck versus another. They're objects. It's a matter, you have a use, that's fine. And can that fit? And I'm just saying more of that being done. But I think that'd be just kept in people's minds. And relay it back. I have a reputation to keep up, so I have to prattle on a little bit. So, okay.
So, yeah, I think it's important we get Bob Davis involved.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
and really, what is our need and what is our future need?
Yeah, I think we have that discussion maybe at the next meeting for sure.
That would help define the timeline of, do we start looking now and really start paying attention, or, do we have a year or two?
Okay.
So, but if Bob definitely can identify a need and show a savings to the town, it would make sense to investigate. Okay, we'll move on to reports and correspondence. Any project updates? 41?
We just gave us,
Well, that is part of your jurisdiction because it's sewer. As I said in the last meeting in Joe's email, it should be done by the end of this month as far as the water main and everything and the sewer. And by the end of September, sometime in September, it should all be blacktop and everything should be all back open again.
2 lanes in each direction, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Forgot what that looked like.
I know.
unless something else
Been
comes
way
up.
too long. No, don't say that. Don't say that other word either.
No.
All right, we're looking forward to that.
Want the contract on the signaling.
Oh, man.
And then to keep people happy, is there any consideration given to putting out some sort of I don't know in what matter, but like a PSA about what's going on with that and when it's
I mean, you can put something out in the water bills the next cycle.
water bills
They
or,
could,
or,
but-
or online or whatever.
You do both, yeah.
We
And-
can ask the clerk. I know she puts when there's road closures and stuff
Yeah.
like that, just
Because there's some, I
Something
mean, there's
on it.
one, a rolling one in front of my house on 109th, with them rewiring.
Yeah,
You
we'll,
never,
we'll-
you never know when that's gonna close.
that's a good idea. I think we
But-
will put something out on that
just
sooner
an
rather than later.
and
Just let-
instead of-
anticipated
Yeah.
completion, but don't
Yep.
commit to a date.
Well, exactly, because God knows what might happen.
Right, it's kind of generic, but
Yeah.
it kind of gives the idea you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that you know where it's going, instead of, oh,
I've been keeping our guy at Alsip informed too, because we've been talking ever since that one day we went out there. So, yeah, so we'll definitely put out an announcement and we'll keep those updated until
Yeah.
that's officially open.
And a lot of that was just miscommunication.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted, some certain parties didn't want to communicate with others, and it just let it sit, and then you're gonna do this, and then we planned for something, oh, we're not doing that. It just caused a lot of problems, a lot of extra money was spent. And people say, well, everybody's pointing fingers at each other. Well, I've been out there on some of those meets, and no, there's no conflict. And 2 months later, there is a conflict. Like this year, they started working, and they found out that the culvert that box culvert had to be replaced. And they wanted to do it now rather than another 10 years because they're putting all that blacktop in.
and they got a grant.
And they got a grant, so that pushed that going forward. And the town looks bad, but the engineers and all that, we were out there. And we did everything that we were asked to do, or told to
I
do.
think if you go on some social media stuff, anyway, it's about this far from being described as the, tunnel of love for the coming riverfront that they're putting in, because it's big enough. But
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Penny. She was like, what?
Well,
Tunnel of love.
But, because, I mean, they say, what is this? You fix it all up, it's getting better, and all of a sudden it's back down again. And I can understand the people's frustration.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
And the
And,
businesses and everyone else.
and you're not
yeah.
going to satisfy them, but
No.
it's a matter of a plausible reason. It's kind of like people don't like when it snows and it screws up their commute in the wintertime. But, they get messed up if nobody does anything about it. But the snow itself, they never, well,
yeah.
But keeping people informed and communication is a thing I don't think the town does a very good job of it, about what's going on and
Well, and some of that, Rich, it was communicated, it was March of 21, I think, there's nothing going on. We're gonna move the pipe here. And you wait 3 months later, oh, there is a problem now. And then you guys had your board, there was a change order for $59,000. You guys questioned that. That changed from $59,000, they took $29,000 off.
I mean, we got it as
You gotta ask questions, and
we got it as a flaming fire from a redevelopment commission, and nobody, how did they get it? And it's like, here, you handle it. That's how the thing started, because we got an apology from Mike Schilling. Sorry, you got this, and I don't know what they were doing with it, or how it got assigned to them, but then we got it because it went to them first. But
That was at the beginning when we ran into the utility pole relocation.
right,
yeah, that's when it all started. There was
That's when
no
it-
communication on that. They put the poles then where they weren't supposed to go, but they didn't
Yeah.
communicate with anybody. They didn't have any joint meetings out there. And the rule of thumb is whoever goes deeper, the deepest, goes
well, funny,
first.
going back, it went to the redevelopment commission. It didn't come to us. We got it later, after time had passed, which then puts it adds in, if it was smoking when they got it, it's flaming when we got it, so hurry up and do something. And that's what I'm talking about. If we would have got it in the beginning, that maybe that,
I don't understand why we've gone to the RDC. If it was a
don't know.
utility conflict. Oh, sorry. not
but
with
I'm just saying, if you look back at stuff that has happened, communication is some, and it goes all over the place. I mean, it's not just outside of town. I mean, I was reading some of those recent emails, and it's like, holy crap. You have a left hand talking to a right hand, and they don't recognize each other's index fingers. And I mean, no, I didn't see it. I did. Are you gonna do this? I haven't heard. Well, I sent this off, nothing came back. It's like, what?
It's a strictly rental. They wash their
And,
uniforms. But here they bought them.
a mechanism to bounce it up and keep on, it's like keep on calling the same number and it goes to voicemail and you keep on leaving a message and nobody ever calls you back. Do you ever say, well, maybe I ought to try a different number? Call somebody bigger, higher? I mean, here, some little store's a problem. Call the corporate office. You bump it up a level. You hear, well, we called back, we called Joe and he didn't say anything, and so we were waiting. Not anybody here, but I could use there's too many Joes and Bobs in this town anyway, but,
Well, that's a nice thing about history. We can learn from our mistakes from the past, and going forward, we can fix them.
I know, this one though, it seems to be an ongoing,
I know.
it hasn't,
We can
that
take-
problem hasn't been fixed.
It's a lessons from history. We can look back to the past, see what mistakes were made, and we can go forward and try to remedy them so they don't repeat themselves.
That's what I'm trying to say, but the other thing is to look ahead as much as possible.
Right. That's why.
And people to
going
talk
forward,
and-
We're gonna get Bobby Davis involved. in
Yes.
More of these conversations and things like that, so he can be more proactive instead of reactive.
Right.
And
Right.
Well, right. I mean, it's a matter of looking forward instead of,
Proactive instead of reactive, and
Yes.
accountable instead of
Yeah.
clueless. I mean, not that he is, I'm just saying.
some of that I don't,
Yeah.
some of those sound like from a buzz phrase projector.
Yeah.
Proactive, reactive, a new
Yeah.
paradigm and all that kind of malarkey, but the concept is, I think, valid.
Yeah, yeah.
That you do better when you're buying something or doing something, the more you can plan out
And there's
and see what's going
communication.
on.
Yeah, we definitely need that.
Yes. All right, are we ready to move on to payment of the bills? Are you done, Rich?
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Well, Bill's, I'll give me another opening.
next
Okay.
time, 50 words or less, okay?
3 minutes,
What are you,
Rich.
TikTok or something? What the heck is
It
this?
was. All right, so we'll start with the sanitary district. Any questions on the docket for the sanitary district? $13,926.53. All right, if there's no questions on it, I'll entertain a motion for the payment of the sanitary district dockets in the amount of $13,926.53.
So moved.
I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to the wastewater dockets. I had just one thing. The uniforms, Joe, we have Aramark, which is the rental, but we also purchase uniforms from fire service. Wouldn't Aramark supply the uniforms for everybody?
And Wayne, it says safety T-shirts, what are
Those are the,
the neon?
yeah,
Those were the, he wants everybody to wear the green,
The Dago green.
Right.
Yeah.
so that everybody can, the people can see them.
right.
Those are a purchase, not a rental.
Right, those are a purchase.
Those are issued to the guys.
Right.
So those aren't part of the uniform? I mean, what are
No,
we?
that's separate from Aramark.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are we wearing those, are those worn when they're in a, like a high traffic area
I
or?
would think when they're out,
And they should have a vest on too, so.
yeah,
Right.
But, because it's hot, I don't think they're wearing the regular,
Uniform
blue
shirts.
shirt.
Oh, so we're doing
For-
it for the summer. Okay,
Right.
that makes
Or
sense.
the mowing crews too, the mowing guys.
Yeah, the mowing crews all have that bright green.
you
Okay.
can't miss them.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, then I will entertain a motion for the payment of the wastewater docket in the amount of $365,492.64.
So moved.
I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Public comment? Seeing that there's no public comment, like a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor